Good afternoon, Mr. NABE.
Good afternoon.
I'm glad to be with you today.
I'm also glad.
So I have some questions I want to know about you.
Right.
Yes. So can you share with us a little bit about your story since you were young till you become a best speaker in Tanzania? What forces you? What's behind you and being a best speaker in Tanzania?
Yeah, of course. One of the things that I've realized is that speaking is inevitable in our daily life. But with my background as a teacher, speaking became more inevitable because I had to teach in class, I had to speak to different audiences, to parents, and to my fellow teachers. But apart from the academic, the professional teaching position, when I left my job as a teacher, I always wanted to be a public speaker because I would look at different videos of the likes of Miles Monroe, Jim Rohn, and other speakers from Africa, and I would feel like I can be like these guys. So that is where the passion and the motivation of public speaking came about. Now the only problem was that I'm an introvert. I'm a super introvert. So I could not see myself standing in front of an audience of maybe 100 or 200 or even 1,000. So I had to learn public speaking because it involves becoming confident, eye contact with your audience. And for introverts, eye contact and confidence are things that are really disturbing to them. So I had to look for a mentor in order to become a good speaker. I had to read a lot of books. I had to attend events. I remember in 2017, I attended over 5 events every week. So a minimum of maybe 20 events per month. And I learned a lot when it comes to public speaking. But when it comes to my childhood, there's a story that I also wrote in my book, The Art of Public Speaking. When I was still in primary, I had a phobia of public speaking. And I remember I was once told to speak at the assembly and I faked sickness. So I did not come to school because the following day was my turn to speak at the assembly, an assembly of over 500 kids. That was too much for me. So I had to become sick all of a sudden. But along the way, I have realized that it is one of the most important skills that any child or any youth must have. And that is why I am very passionate about public speaking.
Okay, nice story.
Thank you.
So what technique did you use to turn from being shy to being confident, apart from having mentors, going to seminars? What was the best technique that you heard from us? It helped you to turn from being shy and then to being the best speaker with confidence.
I think I would say techniques and also part of assistance from the environment and people around me. When I talk about techniques, was that I started asking a lot of questions whenever I would stand in front of maybe an audience, or when I go for a seminar or any class. I would look for a way of asking a question so that I get used to speaking to many people. Even if the question was not that serious, I would make sure that I stand and ask a question to become confident. But also, I remember in 2016, I made a choice of getting a mentor. When he sees this video, he'll remember. I remember it was, I think, on the 28th of January 2016. I went to him, I went to Anthony Luvanda, and asked him to be my mentor. Of course, I had gone through the search for a mentor for like a year before meeting him. But when I met him, I realized that this is the right person for me, because he was doing public speaking. He was one of the best MCs at the moment. His style of speaking was almost the style that I really admired. Then he accepted to mentor me, and from then I think things turned around and my confidence increased. The part of being an introvert, I started dealing with it. But I can also attribute my transformation to the teaching profession. I joined the teaching profession not from passion. When I finished my Form 6, I wanted to do IT. I wanted to be an IT engineer. Now the problem was my parents could not pay for my school fees at the university. So I had to go for my third choice, which was education. So IT was number one, my first choice. My second choice was business administration. And then my third option was education. So when I looked at the tuition fees for IT, they wouldn't pay for that. Business administration, they wouldn't afford that. The only option that had remained for me was education at the University of Makerere in Uganda. So I had to go for education. And at first, it was a challenge for me because I'd gone to the university thinking that I would be an IT engineer and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden you're going to a course that everyone thinks of it as a loser's course. So most of my friends were telling me, you're done, your life is done, you're going for a loser's course, and you're going to get maybe the minimum salary that any profession can get. But then later on in my career, I realized that God works in mysterious ways. He intentionally took me to education so that I can get a foundation of public speaking. So that's why I can say maybe my style of public speaking is different from other people, because I've gone through the teaching profession. So with the techniques and the people around me, plus the foundation of the education that I went through, I think that gives me the confidence of running away from the introvert part. At least I can say I'm a 50-50 introvert and extrovert.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
So most people nowadays, they are being afraid from the fear of judgments, maybe from social medias, maybe from friends, from whatever. So what advice would you advise for any person who facing that challenges? Maybe she wants, or you want to speak in front of the media, in front of the people, but he's like, oh, what? And
they're scared.
They're scared. So what advice would you give such person?
I would tell them three things. One is that as long as you love it and it makes you feel satisfied, or it makes you feel, gives you that self-satisfaction, don't mind about people's words. Don't mind about people's reaction towards it. The only thing you need to do is to work on it. And also, number two is that people will never know how good you are until you show it. So if you don't take that courage and step forward and face your fears, we will never know that you have a good message or a good story. As an introvert, if I had never stepped forward to my fears of speaking in public, I think I would never have met all the friends that I've ever met. Right now we are doing this interview at the offices of Motec 911. He's a friend that I've met on the platforms of public speaking. There are people that I've mentored because I've stepped into my fears, and people have realized that I'm a good speaker. I've written books out of public speaking. So I think I will advise them, just go for it. You never know which doors will open when you step into your fears. And also, there is no growth in the comfort zone. Comfort zone is when you are okay, you don't want any challenges, you don't want your fears taking over. There is no growth in the comfort zone. And thirdly, if you really want to get paid and become successful, you have to do things that you're not comfortable with. So they just have to go for it. That's the advice that I can give them. Okay. Yes.
So my fourth question, but not last.
Yes.
So do you think there is any connection between being a best speaker and being a better leader? Do these two things connect?
There is a huge connection. because John Maxwell says that leadership is influence. Now, there are a few ways you can influence people, either one, through your actions or through your words, or perhaps on a higher level through your achievements. Now, very few people will achieve a lot to influence people. That's why we follow influencers, because they've achieved something. If I take an example of an artist, a music artist, maybe like Diamond Platnumz, we follow him because he has achieved something in the music industry. Now, there are very few people who have done that. So his influence comes from the achievement he has done. But now there is another level of influence that you can use if you know how to use words, if you know how to speak well. So you can become a better leader if you can communicate well. Communication in leadership amplifies your level of influence in a way that leadership is not about bossing around people. It's not about forcing people to do what you want them to do. It's about showing them the way, then showing them the benefits. If we go through this way, this is where we are going. So by the time you realize those people are following you, because you have already communicated the vision very well. So public speaking, communication with leadership, those two are intertwined.
Okay, so are you an entrepreneur too?
Yes.
Or you have any skill about being an entrepreneur?
I'm also an entrepreneur.
Okay.
I usually call myself a social entrepreneur.
Social entrepreneur.
Yes.
So can you tell us any difference between being a business owner and being an entrepreneur?
Yes.
Or are they the same?
To me, in my own interpretation, a business owner is a person who has built a huge system. Now, that means entrepreneurship is a lower level of business owning. When you're an entrepreneur, you get something, you create, you innovate, and you add value to what you've created. You buy something at a low price, you add value to it, and then you sell it. Or you create something and then you sell it. Now, you might be a sole entrepreneur. When we talk about business owning, we're talking about systems. I remember one time one of the greatest speakers here in Africa said that if you want to call yourself a business owner, you should be able to move away from your business for 90 days and your business will still continue as usual. So if you cannot do that, then you're not a business owner, you are self-employed. So I think that's the best definition that I can put. If you don't have a system, for example, you don't have accountants, you don't have human resource managers, you don't have all the operations of a business model canvas, then you're not yet a business owner.
Okay, so between being an entrepreneur and being a business owner,
Yes.
what it starts? Does the person starts being first a business owner, then turn to be an entrepreneur, or first he starts to be an entrepreneur, then becomes a business owner? What is that first?
I would say entrepreneurship should come first, because business owning is another level, is a bigger level. So if you take a huge leap of becoming a business owner without becoming an entrepreneur, it might cost you. And that is why most of the people are doing. They're becoming CEOs in the first month of their opening a business, and later on their businesses fail. Because if you get funds and inject them in a new system that you've not built from scratch, that system might not last because it's not stable. That is why I tell most of the entrepreneurs, you have to be the first person to create your employee contracts, your SOPs. You have to be the first person to create the marketing strategies. You have to be the first person to create any document that you need in your office. So by the time you get the HR manager, by the time you get the logistics department, by the time you get the marketing department, you have set a foundation that you understand. You have set, you know how the roots are deep in your business. If you don't do that, if we give you funds and you open up all the departments that you need. Being a business owner is not something that is about maybe having enough funds. It's about knowing how rooted your departments are, how you created them, and which formulas you used, and how you can sustain all the departments that you've created in the business.
Okay, so one of the leader says being an entrepreneur, it's a God giver.
Okay.
Not everyone can be an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So what's the comment on that? Is it a God giver, or you can train a person to become an entrepreneur?
I would say it's a 50-50. Some people are born as entrepreneurs and others are trained as entrepreneurs, so they learn to be entrepreneurs. I'll give my own example. I remember when I was still young, my mother used to have a shop. It's a grocery. So I would see what she was doing in the shop. I would see her selling different items. So I learned that. And there are people, without even learning that, they automatically become entrepreneurs without getting any initiation or any mentorship or apprenticeship from anyone else. So I think there are people who are born entrepreneurs. They like business, they enjoy creating and innovating, and there are people who are trained or who can be made entrepreneurs along the way.